Okay. Okay, 33 people already, so I think we can start with it. So my name is Iñigo Casis, and I'm the Director of Studies of London School of Languages and a teacher trainer as well, okay? And today I will speak a little bit about using Corpora in class. How many of you are familiar with Corpora? Any of you know what this is? Okay, no, no. Yes, okay. Something related to something related to the body. Yes, okay, body of language, maybe, all right. So they say vocabulary somewhat, okay, yes, a little bit all those things, okay? So I hope that by the end of this session, you will be a little bit more familiar with the corpora, a database of how language is used. Yes, exactly. Okay, all right, and okay, so before we start, first of all, I want to thank you all for coming. And I want to thank people coming from Richmond, okay, who is supporting us very kindly. And let's start with this. So first of all, what we are going to see today. And today we are going to see, first of all, what is a corpus and the plural corpora, okay? A little bit how to use a corpus, linguistics as well, okay? For this, I will use a particular one. I will use the COCA, which is the American corpus of linguistics, and it's possibly one of the biggest and most used corpora in the world, or corpus in the world. I will talk a little bit about why we should use a corpus linguistics. There are a lot of reasons, as you will see, okay, and I will just mention some of them. And finally, at the end of the presentation, I will tell you a little bit about how we can use corpus in class, some activities we can use in class, and I hope at least you can walk away with something useful to use in your lessons. So let's start from the beginning. Let's start with a definition of a corpus, okay? A corpus, basically, like you can see here, in linguistics and lexicography, a body of texts, so the one who says body was more or less right, utterances or other specimens considered more or less representative of a language and usually stored as an electronic database. And that's the most important thing, okay? So it's basically a collection of words, phrases, texts, etc., taken from many different sources, and all of them put in a computer so that we can use them with the program. Currently, Computer Corpora may store many millions of running words whose features can be analyzed by means of tagging, as we will see later, the addition of identifying and classifying tags to words and other formations, and the use of concordancing programs. So as you see, it's basically that. It's a collection, a huge collection of millions and millions of words stored in computers and for us to use. Right, and what kind of information can we find in a corpus? Well, a lot of information, really. But I've chosen some of the most important information we can find, like, for example, the context, meaning, grammatical patterns, collocations, and authentic examples. And I will start from the beginning. I will start with the context. The context of the words is a very important thing. I mean, it's words out of context don't work. And as I say here, words tend to happen in particular contexts. And it's really important to know what context it happens in. Very often, we have words isolated phrase is isolated, and we don't have the context, so we don't really know how it works or how it should work. Well, words, as well as having typical collocates, as we will see a bit later, tend to occur in particular environments. That is to say, language is not very original, in the sense that the same words tend to appear in the same environments or in the same contexts all the time. And in a way that their meaning, especially their connotative and attitudinal meanings, seem to spread over several words. It's always the same. As I say, language is not very original. For example, words might tend to occur overwhelmingly in positive or negative environments. That is to say, some words have very negative meanings, and they are used in collocations with mainly negative words, and some others are mainly used in collocations with positive words. And we will see a couple of examples of this. For example, the word cause, okay? More than 90% of the collocates, of course, are negative, okay? For example, cause an accident, or cause cancer, cause commotion, crisis, delay. I mean, usually we don't say cause happiness, okay? I mean, cause usually goes with something negative. And later on, we will see some examples of these in the corpus. An example of the opposite, an example of words that go with positive collocates, we have, for example, provide, which typically collocates, for example, with provide care, provide food, provide help, provide jobs, relief as well, okay, and provide support. As you see, positive words. I mean, there's no reason for this, quite honestly. And the good thing about the corpora is that we can analyze all these facts and collocations. The other thing we can check is the meaning of the words. I mean, sometimes if they ask you, so what does this mean, right? And sometimes it's not that clear, or sometimes we have more than one meaning. And it's interesting to know how the meaning can change according to the context where we can find the words. So many words have more than one meaning. For example, in these four sentences, the word goal, okay, is being used in its footballing meaning and as a synonym for aim or objective. For example, but the referee spotted the foul and disallowed the goal, okay? African leaders are seeking the support of the international community to achieve these goals, objectives in this case. Or he has made 137 appearances for United and scored 27 goals, or teachers may use this information to help students set goals for themselves. So just as in real conversations, we identify the right meaning through the context, as I was saying before, okay, it appears in. And by studying words in context, we discover how many different meanings they can have. Sometimes we are not even aware of the meanings some words might have. And until we analyze the context, and until we analyze these millions of examples of language and so on, we are not fully aware of the meaning a word can have, as we will see later in one of the activities. The other very, very interesting thing is, for example, that we can check grammatical patterns for certain words, okay? I mean, in course books and etc., we know that, for example, if we take remember, we usually teach remember as going with ing, as going with to, as going with that, etc. But again, how do we know that? I mean, is it gut feeling? Is it because we just know it? Is it, why is that? And the corpus will give us all that information. What is the patterns with which we can use certain words? For example, Corpora will give us information about recurring patterns. And that's very important. I mean, it's not just a pattern that appears once or twice. I mean, having millions of examples means that we will find these patterns once and again, okay? These are some examples from COCA. For example, I don't remember doing it, or I just remember feeling so scared. Meaning something that happened in the past, okay, and remembering that. Remember plus verb plus ing, I was saying. Another use might be, as I was saying before, remember that the repub's main agenda was something, or remember that things perish unless something. Examples of remember plus that plus cause. It's interesting because very often we teach the two main patterns of remember to and remember ing, and we teach them at the same level, let's say. So we tell students generally, okay, remember ing, things you remember doing, etc. Remember to something you have to do. But it's very interesting. Looking around the examples from COCA, we can also see that remember plus verb plus ing is not more, but much more frequent than remember to. So possibly we need to rethink how we teach this particular example, remember in class. And possibly we need to emphasize remember ing much more than remember to, because as I say, Corpora tells us that it is much more frequent than remember to. And here you have a little example. Today, as you will see, I'm using screenshots from Corpora examples. These are Corpora examples I've been looking at this week, and I really didn't want to risk it, okay? And use online Corpora today in the presentation just in case, because you know what happens, right? I mean, suddenly it stops working and the connection doesn't work well and all these things. So just in case, let's not risk it. And as you can see here, in this example of Corpora, of the Corpus of Contemporary American English, we have the word remember, and we have, for example, examples of remember ing, like remember doing it. I just remember feeling so afraid, or remember getting and remember having. As you can see here in these numbers, these are random examples of remember. And it's very interesting that in just a sample of 10 phrases, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are remember having, so 50% remember, sorry, ing, okay? And not one with remember to, by the way. And the same for, as you see here, okay, more examples of ing, and here, as you see, plenty of examples of remember that, okay? So in that sense, the Corpora can give us lots of information about how words work. All right. And possibly one of the most important things we can check in Corpora, and it's the collocations. I mean, as you know, collocations are words that tend to go together statistically. I mean, there's no other reason why. Why do two words go together in a language? Well, because it is used like that, and because statistically, let's say, they tend to appear like that. So collocations are not absolute or deterministic. They are probabilistic events, that is to say. It depends on statistics, percentage of times they appear together. So resulting from repeated combinations used and encountered by the speakers of any language. We say bitterly disappointed in preference to, but not the absolute prohibition of, okay, of sorely disappointed. We don't say that, we say bitterly disappointed. There is nothing to stop, say, a poet using this unusual collocation, okay? So there is always the creativity of the language, of course, okay? and we find new collocations by being creative. Or T is usually strong, but cars are powerful, and so on. And again, because statistically they tend to go like that. And here at the bottom, you have an example of that, okay? Again, this is an example from corpus linguistics. And here you see this bitterly disappointed used in context, okay? And if you enter bitterly disappointed in a corpus, you will see that there are hundreds of examples. However, if you enter sourly disappointed, you might get one or two, but you will see that it is not that frequent. And that tells us that that's not usually a collocation we can use in English. Okay, this situation, and I'm sure most of us, certainly me, are familiar with this. When a student asks, why do you say that like that? And you start thinking, and your only answer is because we say like this, like this. I mean, there's no other answer, right? So, as I say, we're faced with an awkward question from a student about why something is expressed the way it is. And quite honestly, I must say that sometimes that's the answer. I mean, because we say like this, there's no other answer. I mean, there's no, let's say, any pattern, or there's no rule, and so on. And like, yeah, Mark says, because it sounds right. And yeah, you're absolutely right, because it sounds right, okay? But sometimes I guess students need a little bit more than it sounds right. Okay, why does it sound right? And usually I will speak a bit about this later. But for a native speaker, because they are used to this, and they've been exposed to this for many years, and they know that. All right, but sometimes, as I say, it's just because statistically it's used like that. However, we have the corpus to demonstrate it. Okay, it's not just because I say it; it's because thousands of people say it like this. And the other thing we can get in Corpora is authentic examples, and this is very important, I think. In class, very often in course books, we get all these display phrases. We get all this language that has been manipulated to fit the rule very often. I mean, sometimes you see phrases you would never say in real life, quite honestly. And you find them just because they need to fit the rule the authors have laid out for particular language, let's say, okay? Let's take an example. Let's take the word must. And as you know, of course, must is usually first taught for referring to obligation, okay? Now, if we analyze corpora, we will see that, of course, must with this meaning of obligation is very common, okay? However, if we have a look at this example of from COCA, we can see that its function for expressing speculation or deduction, as in they must have read something, is also very frequent, okay? And perhaps we need to think about this, and perhaps we need to think about when we teach these things, because we tend to teach they must have done something quite late in higher levels, let's say, when it's something incredibly common. And something very interesting you can see in the first one is this must have been. And I guess this is coming. I mean, one of the things with the corpora is that it has real use of language. I mean, it's not rules. It's not prescriptive language. It's not prescriptive rules. It's descriptive language, like this must have been, which probably in the future, I mean, who knows, might become a rule as well. Okay, but you can see this. They must have zero motivation. Okay, so again, you are deducing, or they must have read something, which is the example I mentioned, and so on, along with the use of must as obligation. So authentic examples are not always the same examples we can find in course books. And that's why it is so interesting to check the language in a corpus. So just to summarize this bit a little bit, it is easy to identify not only which words are most frequent, but also which grammar patterns, like decide plus infinitive. If we see these examples, we immediately see that decide is used with to. So, and not ing, for example, it's not decide going somewhere, okay, or decide taking a course, but decide, for example, to take a risk or to donate, to check, etc. Okay, and which collocations we use. So, like crucial plus importance, as we see here, crucial importance to, crucial importance for, and again, it's interesting to see the patterns. Okay, so is of crucial importance to the nation, the crucial importance of something, and again, we see here that before crucial importance, a repeated, let's say, pattern is of crucial importance. Okay, like is of crucial importance, become of, and here networking is of crucial importance. So again, as you see, this gives us a little bit the patterns in which certain vocabulary is used or takes. And quite important as well, I mean, the native speaker and the classroom. I mean, as we said before, sometimes when you ask a native speaker why you say something like that, it's, as you said, because it sounds right, because I say like this, or because we say like this. I mean, sometimes non-native speakers, and however proficient a non-native speaker is, sometimes we don't know, or we can't see why something is the way it is. And I will give you an example. The other day we were speaking about cakes, and it was an activity, an online activity. Now that everyone has gone online, we are doing all kinds of activities, and one of the activities was making a cake, and the description was moist banana cake. And suddenly one of the native teachers said, this, moist, that word. And I said, what's wrong with that word? I mean, it's moist, it's cake, so it's fine. It's a collocation, right? So what's wrong with that word? No idea. Until, of course, you check Corpora and you see the specific collocations for this word and in which context it might be used. By the way, moist is a hated word from what I saw. And there are even university studies about why this word is so widely hated by English speakers. Okay, something I didn't know. So, I mean, some more information you can find in the corpus. And another example is this one. And as I say, native speakers have intuitions. Non-native speakers have corpora. Okay, we can check whether one thing is correct or not by checking the corpora. And for example, let's take this phrase here. I'm always very glad, for example, when, for example, I bump into a new expression. And you say, okay, I bump into a new expression. Is that right? Sounds weird, right? Do you think this is right, by the way? Can you bump into a new expression or not? I don't know what you think. But I mean, looking at the examples we have here in these examples from the corpus, and Maria says yes, okay. We see that, for example, you can bump into somebody in the first one, bump into them, bump into Richard, bump into features, bump into each other, him, her. I mean, as you see from these examples of corpora, from Corpora. And as I say, these are random examples, okay? So as you see from the numbers to the side, I've just taken the first 10 examples. And it's overwhelmingly bump into somebody. So, I mean, as you see here from Corpora, you would say that you usually, not always though, bump into people, but not non-entities like expression, let's say. But it's very interesting. Is this native and non-native speaker? If I tell you that a non-native speaker said this expression, you might think that it's acceptable or not. And if I tell you that a native speaker said this, you might think it's acceptable or not. I just show you this this graphic, and it's acceptability or unacceptability of that phrase. So if I say a native speaker said it, most of the people would say, yeah, it's acceptable, of course. A native speaker said that. If a non-native speaker said it, then it doesn't become that acceptable, okay? Because in a way, we shouldn't be using that as you see. So as I say, for a non-native speaker as well, the Corpora is a very, very powerful tool we can use to see whether you can say one thing or not. Okay, but let's go with how to use a corpus. And for this, I will use the COCA, the American Corpus Linguistics, just because it contains a lot of examples. And by the way, it's totally free, okay? You can register and you can use it. The only thing they ask you is to register, okay? And you can use most of the features completely for free. So it's fantastic, okay? As I said, I will use screenshots to show you how to use this. Right. And okay, first of all, as I said, I will use COCA, but there are many corpora you can use, okay? Some of them are incredibly big. I mean, the iWeb, the first one, as you see, 14 billion words from the web, okay? 14 billion, it's impressive, okay, how much it contains. For example, there is a Wikipedia corpus as well with 1.9 billion words from Wikipedia, okay? If you're interested, the Hansard one, 1.6 billion from the British Parliament, that must be exciting, I think. Please check it. And as I was saying, the one I will use is the COCA, which has 1 billion words, okay? If you want specific examples of British English, you can use the BNC, the British National Corpus, okay? It's not as big as the American one, and so it has 100 million words. Okay, it's more updated than this, okay? It doesn't just take until 1993, the same way COCA doesn't take until 2015, okay? So this is a bit more updated than that. Okay, so if we access a corpus, this is the first thing we see, okay? As you see here, you will see a box, okay? And the first thing you will do is you will type in a word. For example, I will use the word cause all the time for this, by the way, okay? So as I mentioned before, it's an interesting word because it usually takes negative collocates, okay? So the word cause, as I say. And to find examples, phrases containing the word cause, the only thing you need to do is you click on find matching strings, which will take us here. And what information can you see here? The most important one is this one, frequency, okay? It tells you that it has appeared well over 170,000 times, okay? Which tells you that the word cause is an incredibly frequent word, okay? So this is the first thing you can see here. So if you want to see how frequent one word is, you can see it here and you can check whether it is frequent or not. But we want to see context. We want to see how it is used. And for that, we would click on cause, and it will take us here. All right, what can you see here? As you can see, the corpus will give you the word cause on this kind of string of words, surrounded by the language with which it appears. As I say, these are real examples. These have been taken from magazines, from TV, from academic texts, etc. Okay, and you can see which words it usually goes with. Okay, so this is the basic thing. Let's say you can see in the corpus. Now, what else can I see? Maybe I want to check where that word comes from, and I want to check the text in which it appears. For that, the only thing I will need to do is click on the word cause, and it will take me to the exact text in which it has been used. It tells me the source, and is from a blog in this case, the date, and the title, and the expanded context. Okay, so here you can see where it has been used. Okay, so that's the basic thing we can do, but we can do many more things with a corpus. And as you saw here, cause can be a verb, okay, like cause death, or can cause the object not to, etc. Or it can be a noun, like in conscience cause, I choose, or for a cause event, etc. So it might be a noun, it might be a verb. So you might want to check cause just as a verb. Okay, for that, here on the right, you see this, okay? You will see that's a POS or part of speech. And then you can choose which part of speech you want to check for the word you enter here. And in this case, I want to check cause as a verb. And I would say find matching strings, and it will take me here. Cause as a verb, of course, it appears 63,000 times. Okay, so you see that the number is much lower, obviously. Okay, but still, I mean, you see that half of the occurrences, almost half of the occurrences, are possibly verbs. Okay, and again, you can see cause used as a verb. Most of the times, by the way, I mean, this is not infallible. You need to check it because sometimes some strange words might appear, okay? And like cause as because, for example, okay? So check that, because I say this is not infallible, but here you have cause used just as a verb. Okay, another feature of the corpus, and this is the quick, okay, which is the keyword in context. So I might want to know in which context usually a word is used. And again, I will go with cause and POS, part of a speech. I want it as a verb. And as you see here, it will tell you words that appear to the right, words that appear to the left of cause. And if you click on the keyword in context, this is what you will get. Okay, so this beautiful example of corpus, and as you saw, with 3 words to the right, 3 words to the left, and you have a color code. Cause here in the middle, okay, and as you see, for example, the verbs or the modal verbs appear in this pink color, if that's I don't know, I guess it's pink, or this blue one with nouns, as you see, okay, or yellow for prepositions. So it's very visual, and you immediately can see what kind of words this word goes with, okay? Here to the left, by the way, you can see the source, okay, where it appeared, whether it is a magazine, TV, blog, etc. Okay, but as you can see immediately, cause goes with negative things like cause autism, brain cancer, burns, cancer, very bad, cause cauliflower, even worse, I must say. So bad things, as you see with cause. Okay, but as you see, if I type in cause, I just see the word I type. I mean, I see cause, but I don't see the inflections of the word. I mean, I don't see caused or causing or any of the other inflections of the word. So for that, what I can do is this: write just cause and an asterisk, and that will give me all the suffixes that go with cause. Okay, and like that, what I will find is if I click again on matching strings, they will give me the most frequent inflections for the word. Of course, cause as it is, but as you see, caused, the past simple or the past participle, is by far the most common inflection for this word as a verb, much more than causing or causes. Okay. Then, of course, you get other examples, random examples like caused, maybe Old English, I guess. Okay, or these examples here, but they appear as one, so they might be typos, mistakes, and so on. This is what you need to look at, okay? The frequency, as you see, the past participle or the past simple, of course, is by far the most common inflection of this word. Okay, another important feature of a corpus, as I said, is finding the collocates, okay? The collocations for a word. And for that, I would go here to collocates, and this is what I would do. I want to know what's the most frequent collocation for cost word, let's say, okay? And for that, I choose that I want to know which nouns it goes with, okay? And I will choose 3 spaces here to get words like cost, the, something, okay? And yes, to get the words we have immediately after cost. And which one do you think, by the way, is the most frequent collocation for cost? What do you think? Have a go. Cost by or cost cancer. Okay, was caused by. Okay, but I'm choosing. Okay, I'm choosing the noun, so be caused by something in this case. All right. Well, let's check it. Damage is by far the most common collocation noun, as I say. Okay, collocation for cause. So caused damage or caused problems, or like you said, death is very high, okay? As you see, all of them negative, okay? Problem, pain, trouble, accident, change, that might be positive, loss, crash, explosion, and so on. So from the corpus, we see that cause is overwhelmingly negative, as we see. Cause, controversy, for example, okay? And if you click on damage, for example, it will give you the context again in which this word is used. So cause damage to whatever it is. And again, we again see the collocations for damage, that cause damage to something, to his family, to the movement, etc. Okay, sometimes it happens to me. I don't know which adjective I have to use with a word. Okay, do you see? Is a big cause of concern? Is it an important cause of concern? Is it a great cause of concern? Sometimes I don't know, quite honestly. And what you can do again is, in this case, choose the adjective. Okay, you want cause, or which adjective goes with cause of. Okay, which one? Which adjective do you think is the most common with cause of? Okay, this one, leading. Okay, leading cause of, major cause of, or a common cause of. Okay, and again, this will tell you which adjective is the most common one. Okay, so leading or major is much more common than, for example, principal cause of. Okay, so again, very useful information if you don't have that instinct, let's say. Okay, and the same, if I want to know what's the most common noun with leading cause of, again, I choose noun, and it will tell me that the most common, by far, collocation with leading cause is leading cause of death. Okay. Okay, for this one, for this feature, coronavirus, all right, and the chart will give you this information. It will give you historical information about the word. I mean, when it was more frequent, and in which context it is more common. Okay, so if you want the chart display for coronavirus, this is what you get. Still, obviously, we don't have the latest entries, but obviously, in the next couple of years, coronavirus will go up there on the list. Okay, but you see, for example, that between 2010 and 2014, it was very common, possibly because it was the first time we had that coronavirus. Okay, you see that it's very frequent on the web, for example, but not in fiction, for example. Okay, or that in academic texts, coronavirus is a very common word. Okay, we can find synonyms as well. Okay, doing this. So these brackets here, the sign and cause, and we can get synonyms like begin, cause, produce, trigger, and initiate. Okay. And sometimes you don't really know what's the difference between two words. For example, trigger and initiate. And again, this corpus will give you the opportunity to compare words. So if I go to this compare feature, I can compare two words. For example, trigger as a verb and initiate, okay? And I tell the corpus, okay, tell me how it is used, each one, and how it compares to each other. And this is what you get. You get the comparison between these two words, trigger and initiate, and we see that trigger is very commonly used with memories. So trigger memories, but it's very interesting, there is 0 instances of initiate memories. Trigger alarm, but no initiate alarm, okay? Trigger symptoms, and just one initiate symptoms, okay? And the same for initiate. You initiate very commonly conversations, but you don't usually say, as you see here, trigger conversations, okay? So again, this can give us a lot of interesting information about how two words are used and in which context the words are used. Okay, so let's see a couple of activities you can use in class using the corpus. And here you have some questions, okay, which is more frequent, the verb be, the verb do, which condition is the most frequently used, and can you order the following propositions starting with the most frequent one, to, in, of, on, at, or for? I won't give you the answer. That's homework for you, okay? If you want the answer, tell me at the end of the session. But one activity you can do is, for example, give students near synonyms, like give students 2 near synonyms, give them examples of corpora, and get them to analyze it and find the difference. I mean, if students have to check the context for two words, they will guess the meaning from the context, which is a very important skill, by the way. And you are giving them skills they can use in real life as well. For example, what's the difference between collaborate and cooperate? Okay, would you, are you able to tell me what's the difference between collaborate and cooperate? Okay, all right. So here, what I would do is I would give them two two lists with cooperate and with collaborate. And what I would do is I would get them to analyze this. Okay, the context for cooperate and the context for collaborate. So cooperate together. Yes, Christina says used in different contexts. Yeah, from these examples, in fact, what you can see is that one is usually used in a slightly more positive context, let's say. And what you get is, and this is the definition from the dictionary, but collaborate is work with someone in order to produce something, and cooperate is work with someone to achieve a result that is good for everyone involved, okay? And possibly from the examples you have here, in a way you could guess the meaning, okay? They say collaborate with someone, cooperate with something. No, again, is collaborate with people or collaborate on something, okay, as you see here, okay? But you can collaborate with people, you can collaborate with organizations, and the same with cooperate. As I say, the difference is this, cooperate is slightly more positive than collaborate, okay? So again, you can get them to analyze that. Another one, have students guess the top collocates of a word. For example, what do you think might be the top object noun that collocates with the word boost? You can write 5 of them, for example, and check them against the corpus. Give me one. Which one do you think is the top object noun that goes with boost? What do you boost? You boost what? Okay, okay, energy is, all right, achievement, self-esteem, all right. And by the way, for that, again, you would go to collocate, boost, and noun, okay, your mood as well, all right. Economy is by far the most frequent collocate. But as you said, confidence, morale, mood was somewhere there, I think, okay, but sales, production, self-esteem possibly, okay, somewhere. But economy is by far the most frequent collocate, okay? So again, one thing is what our instinct tells us, and another thing is what reality, let's say, tells us, okay? What the corpus tells us about the words. Another activity, show the collocates, reveal the collocates one by one, and get them to guess what word goes in the gaps, the same one, okay? For example, which word could go into all the 9 gaps I will show you now? And you can tell me, okay? So if you have it, just tell me the word. I will say you after the 9 gaps. Something plus fees. And it's the same word in all of them, eh? And you can make this a competition. No? No one can guess? Okay, one got it. Yes, Julia, it's legal. Okay, exactly. Legal in this case, all right? The same word for all of them. And for an extra point, what do you think is the top collocate of legal? Okay, you can ask them that. And which one do you think? Legal? Legal what? What do you think is the most common collocate for this one? And again, you would do it like that, okay? Collocates, legal, and noun. It's very interesting because it's legal residence, and marijuana is the third most frequent one, okay? People look for legal marijuana, not legal advice, as you see, okay? And again, this is real language, by the way. This is language as it is used, and this is real frequency of words, okay? Real legal marriage, for example, legal limit, and so on. But apparently people are very interested in where they can get legal marijuana, okay? Funny things you can find. The other thing you can do with a corpus is use the asterisk, as I said before, to find prefixes and suffixes, okay? So, for example, with organized, if you type asterisk organized, you will get reorganized, well organized, disorganized, etc. Or by typing sleep and asterisk, you would get sleeping, sleepy, and so on. Oops, sorry. So what may be the suffixes for asterisk like asterisk? And you give them, okay, can you guess the top 10, for example, okay? Okay, Isiar, thank you very much. See you soon, I hope. And again, you type that, asterisk like asterisk, and this is what you get. Likely is by far the most common one, and liked or unlike are the most common prefixes and suffixes for like, okay? Another activity can be guess the meaning, okay? You give them the concordance for a word, and they have to guess the meaning, okay? For example, I've chosen the word mean for this, okay? And again, this is random examples, okay? 1, 2, 13 for the word mean, and you can see that there are a lot of different meanings for mean, okay? Like the most immediate one, what does all this mean? But you can have mean moderation, mean words, okay? Like not proper words. As well, being mean, somebody can be mean, okay? And with mean gym people, okay? So again, a negative word, okay? But as you can see, by just typing mean in a random string of words, students can see lots of different meanings for the word mean, okay? So they have to guess, again, the meaning from context. And finally, okay, here you have a list with the most common words. This is because I wanted to mention a word by Scott Thornbury, Natural English. And what he did was he took the 100 most common words in English and he arranged his grammar book around those words, okay? And there in Natural English, you can find quite a lot of exercises using Corpora like this one, okay? Analyzing grammar patterns, okay? So you can give them patterns, like for example, for conditionals, and you can give them examples, okay? And they have to, for example, match each example to the pattern, okay? So again, examples taken from corpus. So as you see, lots of activities we can use to analyze language, etc. Okay, so a very powerful tool, okay? Here you have a little bit of bibliography, but a very powerful tool, as you can see, okay? And I must say, quite fun if you start using it, okay? You will see a lot of interesting things, things you thought they were true, but they aren't that frequent. And it's a tool you can use to, let's say, know whether a collocation is used or not, etc. So it's completely free. Have a go, use it, play around, and tell me. Lula says, is it updated regularly? Yes, it's updated regularly. They are constantly adding new words, okay? And yes, they tell me, can you see the bibliography again? Of course. I mean, the main thing I used is the COCA, okay? So if you type COCA, you will see the American corpus for linguistics, okay? And as I say, completely free, access it, and the best thing to do is to use it, play around, okay, and see if it can be useful for you, okay? So thanks for listening. Next Friday, by the way, don't miss Alex's session, okay? Cultural awareness in ELT. And thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Richmond, again. And I hope to see you soon, okay? So bye, and thank you very much. So see you. Thank you.